Good morning. Welcome to Community Voice. I'm your host, Keith Parris. I want to thank everybody for joining us this morning. Good morning, Clark Kent.
Who you with?
You got the Porleys?
Yeah, you know.
Okay. And
I'm
what up,
trying.
Right Out?
Bishop, chairman of the board. How you doing,
Man,
man?
I was out. We went out. I went out last night, went to the store, and I knew it was bad, but we were spared. We had no power. There was no power outage. But when I drove to Sendix on North Avenue, the power was out there. Power was out on North Avenue. Looks like it started about 76th Street all the way. I know when I got to Swan, because I ended up taking the Menominee Parkway Park,
I know what you're talking about.
no lights.
I know that area.
And then when I got to the Metcalf on 68th and State, they had power. Just to give you an update, they are removing that tree limb on Sherman and Fond du Lac. But there was another one as I was coming up 60th Street. So if you're doing 60th Street and you're trying to do it south, when you get to Burleigh, you're going to have to turn because there's a limb down on the west side of the street that's blocking the street. So, yeah, I mean, it was that wind last night.
I slept through all that.
Yeah, that was crazy. Let me also, to my guy who, oh man, I should get Right Out to give me a text Right Out, tell him bring me ginger ale. But to my guy who, saying your coffee was cold, I hope it was hot because Michelle was on fire. So I don't know. You give us an update on where your coffee is this morning. Yes, so it was, and I guess for the folks who were at the Brewers game last night, that was probably one of the safest places to be, even though they said there was some water, that rain came down. And that's what I saw. The rain came down sheets. And then about 7:30, it had passed, but the damage had been done. I know a couple of years ago, there's something called a straight line wind. And I had never seen that before, but we have a huge tree in front of our home. And I saw that tree bend. I mean, I saw it bend. That's how strong the wind was.
Listen.
So, and all those folks, that kind of got caught out there in it, that's always crazy because sometimes these fronts will come through and you're already out. Boom, you're trying to get back to where you're trying to get back to. But but here's the other piece of it. There's very few places, if any place, you can go where there isn't weather. And
Right.
So they're out cleaning up now. And I think when we saw the updates, about 11,000 people in Milwaukee County who still don't have power. Good thing is today will not be an oppressively hot day. I know we had 3 years ago, when we had the windstorm and we lost power for 2.5 days. It was getting hot.
That was crazy.
It was getting hot.
Crazy.
It was getting hot. So
I'm so glad that we got this tree cut down the back of our yard because it was just one big old limb. It already had a crack in it. I just needed one good windstorm. It would have tore up the back porch, probably the back part of our house. That's how, I'm glad we got it cut down this year.
And last week they were dealing with the storms that hit outside of Chicago.
Yeah.
And was the west suburbs.
Yeah.
And as a matter of fact, one of the people who was performing at a Harvard Fest, she was talking about she had no power when we did the interview. So, man, you don't miss it until it's gone.
So did it rain in Kenosha that doing that?
Yeah, they ended up getting it. It was the way it came down. It was coming from the northwest. That front came in.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm sure. You talking about Saturday?
Yeah, Saturday.
No, it didn't rain.
It didn't rain. So they still had it in the inside though.
Yeah, just because they didn't know.
Yeah, because it was like it looked like when we was at the park, it looked like, okay, here it come. Then we got fruit sprinkles, and then that was it. Then it kept coming back like, all right, here it come this time. Gonna come this time. But we didn't get it, so.
Yeah. So it is. Now I don't know. I don't know if it's the Brewers are that good or the Mariners are that bad, but 22, it looked like a football score, man. And I guess in baseball there's no mercy rule. What they did do though, they didn't go to the bullpen. I think the backup catcher. I wonder, does he get the save? I know I saw the last 2 outs he got, but he was the backup catcher. You know, you don't put your pitchers out there for that, you know, like your closers. But man, you have those games though, you know, where it just seems like tonight just wasn't the night.
But you know what? I was looking at the news that the one Brewer that hit his first home run.
Mm-hmm.
When I saw how dude, it seemed like that pitch he shot him was like alive. It did. It looked like one of them, you know, like how you, okay, when you throw a pitch at somebody, you know that's going to be a grand hitter.
Mm-hmm.
You know how you just throw it. That's what it looked like to me. But
look at my guy. Look at my guy. And what did I say, Clark? I said I should text him to see if he'd bring me a ginger ale, man.
But I called him for you.
Yeah. You want a ginger ale, man?
Oh, no, I'm good.
Clark?
Oh, no, I'm good.
You sure?
I'm positive.
Okay. All right. 414-444-5250. 414-444-5250. Yeah, I once I saw the Brewers go up, I think when they went up like 6-0, I went back to watching the WNBA last night and watched the Fever beat the Tempo. That's the Toronto team. And the Fever beat the Aces at home last night. So I don't know how to feel about it. Now, there is a big game coming up, the Valkyrie. That's the Oakland team or San Francisco, that Bay Area team. Will be playing the Lynx. And they have the best records in basketball. So we should say Kelsey Mitchell left last night. Hopefully her injury is not serious. But, yep, it is that time. Let me do this. Huh.
Yeah, man. Sometimes you gotta yeah, man. You need that.
Refreshing.
Yeah, man. That's when you know you hit the spot.
Let's see what's in the comments, Clark.
Nothing too much yet. But,
You said not too much?
Yeah.
Let's see.
Same.
Let's see. That's right, Michelle. We play ourselves all the time. Egos get in the way. Okay. 2 types of this north-south. Who is north-south?
I don't know, man, but
2 types of Negro in America. All the people who are okay with her, we already know which Gwen and Hakeem. He doesn't like
Gwen.
He doesn't like Gwen.
Don't
That's
like
right,
Gwen.
Michelle.
He don't
We
like Crowley either.
Man, he probably don't like himself.
He don't like Crowley either.
Okay.
Probably don't like himself.
Wow. And, you know, I was I guess people do listen to the program. And when I was down in Kenosha, I was having a conversation. I don't know, and I explained my remarks. I said that what you saw with Francesca Hahn is younger folks. Yeah, they're showing him doing the last out. Yep. That was the catcher. Yeah.
Man, who was ever
Sanchez, Gary
pitching?
Sanchez.
Who was ever pitching for Seattle? Because you know how when they run out of pitchers, they start using outfielders and infielders and catchers. I think that particular game right there, man, they put in the water boy and just let him pitch.
Well, Gary Sanchez, who's the backup catcher, he got the last 2 outs. So I wonder, does he get the save?
Well, not because it's not a safe situation. Because it's a blowout.
Yeah, it's still you got some point.
Oh, no, you just get no decision.
Let's see, did Gary Sanchez get the save last night?
It wasn't nothing to save. I mean, it saved some rear ends from getting beat up some more.
Well, they weren't going to put the pitchers in at this point.
Right.
Gary Sanchez.
So that's why I'm like, man, it was calling people out of the stands. Like, hey, come pitch.
Get the save.
I'm telling you that.
And you know what? Nobody left.
Right.
Because
they was making history.
No, because of the weather.
Storm,
yeah, so they didn't leave.
They
pitched
wasn't
in the
leaving.
9th inning.
No, I'm sure though he didn't get the save because it wasn't a safe situation.
I could tell we had a flood over here.
Because the Brewers are ahead by 22 runs when he entered a save situation does not exist in baseball.
Yeah.
The maximum time run would not be on deck, and the team leading by more than 3 runs cannot be credited with a save. He simply pitched a scoreless inning as a position player to finish the blowout.
Yep. No decision. Wow. But he get to add that to his resume, though. He pitched a meaningless game.
They had another game, though, and the Brewers are in, and they brought in position people to –
because
you don't want to have your – I mean, you don't want to put the bullpen out there at this point. Let them rest. There's another game. We'll see what happens tonight. But it looked like batting practice.
Man, it was funny.
It looked like batting practice. So
did they get flooded out down there by the Brewers Stadium? You know,
no, there was some water. There was some water coming through the roof because I guess it was coming down so hard. Now, there's the other part of me that my grass is loving this water.
Right.
But it's growing too quick.
With a little situation with Lake NOV here, I can see debris.
Yeah.
Yeah. And people.
Man, is it ever going to stop, though?
What?
Lake WNOV.
If they clean all the paper off the block, they'd be all right.
Yeah.
Well, that was part of the discussion we were having yesterday about how, when we were coming along, it wasn't as much plastic, and so we're just more disposable, and so that's why you're seeing all the trash out there. Let's be honest, man, we didn't have a lot of trash to throw out. So, I look at the amount of garbage that we create for 2 people. It's just amazing.
I'm going to ask this question again.
Mm-hmm.
How come that we, Wisconsin, don't have, you can make money off of plastic bottles and stuff like that, like Michigan?
Oh, the returnables.
Yeah. How come
That's a good question.
How come we don't have that?
Yeah.
Because you can't find a plastic nothing in Detroit. Nothing.
Well, with the, man, I was just thinking about, now, there's this, I'm trying to think. I actually went to a store they have down in Evanston, Illinois, Edelweiss. And Edelweiss, I don't know if you've seen Edelweiss milk, Edelweiss juices.
Mm-hmm.
They're done in glass and they're returnable. So you can take that, once you use it, you can take it back in because it's glass.
Right. And
it's returnable. Now, you and me, we come from when, you had, what was it, a nickel?
No, we had when we came up, it was the bottle sodas for a dime,
but
10 cents.
Okay, but then the 32-ounce Coke bottles, that was a quarter.
Yep.
Yeah, man, that's how I used to earn my wrestling ticket money.
That's how I used to earn my swimming money.
All right. Okay. Caller, welcome to the program.
Good morning. I want to ask you a quick question. We have so much stuff going on in the world today, and I'm just going to ask you from my heart, do you think this will be a good opportunity for Black people to go beneath hell? Because, they always say when they go low, we go high, and since they want to make people lives whose Black life are living hell, I think Black people should take them beneath hell, because Black people are the only people who really can control hell. Because there's too many people who are too good to go for heaven. And then I thought about it. Would I really want to go to heaven knowing I didn't see somebody down on earth that I despise to keep up nothing but nonsense, and I see you up in heaven, and I said, I never did anything wrong, and all you did was ask for forgiveness? What makes you think I don't want to tear heaven down? Do you think Black people should take these individuals beneath hell to the 100th power? See, because a lot of these people, they want to make your life a living hell, but they ain't good enough, and they can't take real hell. I also think Black people should go back to their roots and start studying voodoo, hoodoo, and witchcraft. Because, everybody want to, sit here and act like they so good and great, and Black people are the root of all evil. So I think Black people should, let's go on down to hell, baby. Because I'm going to keep you in hell, and when you get ready to go out, I'm going to take you deeper than hell.
All right. Appreciate it.
So I'm asking you.
Oh, you asking me?
Yes, I'm asking you.
I don't know. That's
So you ain't never had a time in your life where you said, you know what, I want to take you to hell.
What?
Because
I have had some times in my life where I can't put you in heaven or hell, but I can drive you to the gate of hell. Now, there's some people I want to drive to the gate of hell.
No, I'm talking about beneath hell, not to hell. So you're being too nice. You got to go beneath hell.
So you're getting into Dante territory now, where Dante has the different stages of hell. And I don't know what it is, 7th degree, 9th degree of hell. I don't.
Well, no, take him to the 100th degree of hell. Because we as black people are the only people who can control hell. I think people like you are too good to go to heaven. I think you will probably pull a 2x4 on somebody in heaven.
So Al, you don't want to go to heaven?
Why would I? Why would I want to go to heaven and I see somebody did everything they big enough to do, cause all kind of havoc and chaos, and now I'm in heaven and you're up there and all you had to do is get forgiveness? I want to jump on you in heaven. And if Jesus jump in the way, I want to jump on him too. And hit him with a bottle.
So you would rather see them in hell?
No, I want to take them beneath hell. I don't want to take you to hell. Taking you to hell, that means I'm being a bigger person. I want to take you beneath hell. See, some people say that hell is bad. Well, how we know hell is bad if you can control it?
All right. Appreciate you. Look at the next caller. Caller, welcome to the program. Appreciate you. Caller, welcome to the program.
Didn't they say that they was going to throw hell into the lake of fire?
I don't know.
You don't read Revelations, brother?
Too scared. Caller, welcome to the program. Caller, welcome to the program. And I ain't the only black person scared. I ain't the only black person scared of the book of Revelations, all right? Caller, welcome to the program.
Yes. Oh my God.
Listen, I couldn't help but to call in.
No, you could have.
No, I couldn't. Not when my belief is under attack. And I have means to jump in and interject.
Your belief is under attack. How is your belief under attack?
Because when you start talking about heaven and hell and how you don't want to go to heaven, don't worry about going to heaven. You ain't gonna go to heaven.
How's your belief? How's your belief being attacked?
Right.
Because what I believe and what I believe righteously is that heaven is a place of purity. And there ain't gonna be no 2x4 pulling and no fighting and all of that kind of chaos. So what's happening here is that when I hear a gentleman call in that claim to be an atheist, one without a God, and he studied talking about heaven and hell. But one thing about hell,
I don't understand is what they got to do with your religion.
Now you didn't say nothing as long as dude was talking
because he was making a point.
And you just about it. As soon as I come in,
no, but what I'm asking you is how is that attacking? How's that attacking your faith?
That says a lot, though, man.
No. How's it attacking your faith?
No, meets. Hold on. Now
it's attacking your faith.
No. Because Meets, hold on, Meets. You have to understand this, and you know this as a Bible scholar. The Bible says for them to let them grow together, and He'll do the separating. So you having a comment because he feeling like he don't want to go to heaven. That's not your place, bro. Because again,
okay, brother,
wait, hold on. Listen, I promise you, I'm sorry, man.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
The Bible says to let them grow together. Now, you coming up against what he's saying. True enough, you have your opinion because you want to go to heaven. I understand that, but for somebody that don't believe, that's not your job to make them believe. You got to let it grow together, and then he gonna do the separating at the end, bro.
All right, that was good.
You still haven't answered my question.
But remember this. Hold on. Then we'll go to where in John, Jesus said, my Father is the husbandman. I am the true vine.
I am right.
Do you know that the majority of the world,
they won't let me say nothing.
The majority of the world does not believe in heaven and hell. You understand that, right?
That's them. Amen.
Okay, thank you. You just made your own point. That's them.
And also, Mister, you got to be careful too because you tend to talk a lot about the Mexicans and the immigrants and putting them out and things like that. And in
what
reality,
about if they in heaven? Are they going to heaven?
I mean, are you going to put them out of heaven too? Because Jesus said, "Love everybody, love your neighbor." So if they are your neighbor, you gotta love them, bro.
Now I can't, man. If y'all having a monologue, just let me know because I'm trying to have a dialogue. Y'all won't let me talk.
Same difference. Go ahead, bro.
No, it ain't the same difference. Not when you just rattling. I'm listening.
I mean, sound like you rattling off, man, because just because he has an opinion and don't.
Okay, well, let me give you my
opinion. You look at heaven, bro.
Can I give you my opinion?
Yes, sir.
My opinion is that you don't got to worry about going to heaven.
How?
You probably gonna go.
How are you judging them, bro?
No.
Because
time out.
Hey,
let's take a 20. Can we take a 20? Let's do a 20.
Let's do a 20.
Okay.
It's time for the 20 anyway.
It's time for the 20 at 20.
At 20.
All right, man. I got to take a break, mate. Appreciate you, man.
Hold tight if you want.
You're listening to Community.
Hold on, you gonna hold me over?
No, because I got a guest coming in at 9:30.
So y'all skewed all that point. Look here, man. You don't have to. Let me say this before you take your 20.
Okay.
You don't got to worry about it because in hell it's gonna be like a diabolical prison, a very diabolic prison where all of that mess gonna be down there. And if you ever snitched on somebody, you don't want to go to hell.
Okay.
If you was ever a hater, you don't want to go to hell.
Whoa. Wait a minute. You said haters?
Yeah.
Man, you gonna be in hell.
You talking about my people
The
now?
non-believers gonna be in hell. The non-believers is the number one person going.
Okay, I appreciate you.
The number one is gonna be the unbeliever, brother.
I mean, now,
Okay, all right.
now, that part is true.
Be careful. Why don't we do this? Why don't we let God straighten it out?
Yeah.
She knows what she knows what
I'm
she's
cutting
doing.
your mic off, Keith.
You listen to Community Voice. Gonna take a break. And we'll be right back.
When we wanted to expand access for folks in need of bikes, we turned to Veolia. The result, the new Veolia EcoPass program that has dramatically increased access to our bike share system for folks all throughout our community, connecting students to schools, people looking for work with employers, the community with parks. Thanks to our partnership with Veolia, Bubbler Bikes is serving more people than ever before. Those are Milwaukee values.
I'm Jim Playstead. I'm the Executive Director of the Historic Third Ward Association and also a resident of the Historic Third Ward. Somebody's got to manage this, right, and care for our waterways and care for the treatment of our waterways. We couldn't do it without MMSD and Veolia. They've just been a great partner as long as I've known them. It's just been an amazing recovery for this body of water. MMSD and Veolia have been a big part of getting that clean and enjoyable for all of us.
We have been in business here for 14 years. I believe the rivers are the cleanest they've ever been. We get lots of people on our rivers in canoes, kayaks, stand-up paddleboards. People are happy to be here, and it's growing every year. We love our partnership with Veolia. They help the kayak company grow. I definitely don't think we would be here without Veolia and MMSD. Clean water is essential.
The work we're doing at Veolia is absolutely bringing access to the water for people. To be able to have this job to help keep our rivers clean and our lake clean is the greatest thing I could ask to be doing with my time. It feels good. You're accomplishing something that is truly helping everybody in the community I was born and raised in. Water is our greatest resource. We all need it to survive. Veolia is 100% doing great work.
When we wanted to expand access for folks in need of bikes, we turned to Veolia. The result, the new Veolia EcoPass program that has dramatically increased access to our bike share system for folks all throughout our community, connecting students to schools, people looking for work with employers, the community with parks. Thanks to our partnership with Veolia, Bubbler Bikes is serving more people than ever before. Those are Milwaukee values.
I'm Jim Playstead. I'm the Executive Director of the Historic Third Ward Association and also a resident of the Historic Third Ward. Somebody's got to manage this, right, and care for our waterways and care for the treatment of our waterways. We couldn't do it without MMSD and Veolia. They've just been a great partner as long as I've known them. It's just been an amazing recovery for this body of water. MMSD and Veolia have been a big part of getting that clean and enjoyable for all of us.
We have been in business here for 14 years. I believe the rivers are the cleanest they've ever been. We get lots of people on our rivers in canoes, kayaks, stand-up paddleboards. People are happy to be here, and it's growing every year. We love our partnership with Veolia. They help the kayak company grow. I definitely don't think we would be here without Veolia and MMSD. Clean water is essential.
The work we're doing at Veolia is absolutely bringing access to the water for people. To be able to have this job to help keep our rivers clean and our lake clean is the greatest thing I could ask to be doing for my time. It feels good. You're accomplishing something that is truly helping everybody in the community I was born and raised in. Water is our greatest resource. We all need it to survive. Veolia is 100% doing great work.
Host Keith Parris.
All right, welcome back. And we're joined in studio by Miss Teresa Langdon. She's here to talk about the first annual Grief and Healing Conference. Welcome.
Thank you.
Good morning.
Thanks for having me.
Tell us about the health, the Grief and Healing Conference.
Sure. It's a nonprofit. Our weight. It came from the loss of my son. He was killed in 2012. He was shot. It was a double homicide, and it took me about 13 years to decide that I needed to do something in celebration of him. I actually always wanted to do something in celebration of him, just didn't really know what to do. He wasn't a party kind of kid. So I thought I'll do something that involved the community and involved other families grieving, in particular mothers who had experienced what I had experienced.
So you decided to, so did you form an organization?
Yes, I have Our Weight nonprofit organization, 501(c), yes.
And what does that organization do?
I I also have a podcast, and my podcast, I sit with mothers who have experienced the loss of a child. It doesn't have to be a homicide. I've sit with moms who have experienced accidental deaths, drownings, health issues. So my goal is to teach families how to navigate through grief with kingdom principles, knowing that God is not angry with us and that death is something that we'll all experience.
So is it helping people through the process of grieving?
Yes, I believe so. That's my goal, and to help them to live again. I think that I spent a lot of time. I think I wasted a lot of time with, and well, I wouldn't say wasted. I did what I could when I could. Grief it looks different with everybody. It doesn't always. It's a joke that I do with my clients. I'm a manicurist by trade. Sitting on the side of the bed, and I just sat there and I pondered and I thought about him so long and wondering what would he look like today and stuff like that. So I think that I wanted to speed the process up a little bit for other people, knowing that our loved ones will want us to smile again. They will want us to laugh again. They will want us to have fun again. And I didn't want to do that, thinking that it would look crazy if I was laughing and playing and joking. And if you knew my son was a happy person. So I know that he wouldn't want me to do that. So I teach moving forward after the grieving, but healing at the same time, if that makes sense.
And it's a process.
Yes.
And people, it's one of those things like you move at your own speed.
Mm-hmm.
People, they go through just all these ranges of emotions and feelings, and be able to, get to, and I don't know what okay looks like.
Mm-hmm.
But maybe it does look differently for different people.
I bet. I know, like shopping. That's something that society probably wouldn't frown at, because shopping is shopping, right? But some of us just doing it to self-medicate. Some people drink, some people smoke, some people take pills, and it looks different. And we don't always know what grief looks like. But I just want us to lean in and be intentional with our interactions. Like I said, I'm a manicurist by trade, so I get the opportunity to sit with clients face to face. So that's an intimate time, and I've learned so much about my clients, and I'm learning what grief looks like. And it looks different. It looks different for everybody. Everybody is not crying. Somebody is overindulging in drinking. It just looks different for all of us.
Depression.
Yes.
So talk about the conference. Just give us a sense of what that day looks like.
So I wanted it to be a celebration. I didn't want it to be a day of, if you want to cry, of course, I don't want anybody to not cry if they want to cry, but it's so many great things happening that day, and it's so much entertainment, and so many, the lineup is amazing. And I wanted to soften the day up with my good friend Rico Love. He's a artist, and he's traveled worldwide, and he's written music, and he's doing his own album right now, 97 Bad Boys, and he took out the time to come and spend time with us. And my good friend from Minnesota, Jay Most, and he has music coming out also. So I felt like that would lighten up the day a little bit, because I know grief can be heavy, but it can also be a good thing to be interacting with people who saying, I've experienced this too, because I think that grief sometimes make us go into isolation and makes us feel like nobody's experiencing this except for me. And I think that's where the depression comes in, because it feels like I'm by myself. So I thought that the line dancing, the music, and that would lighten up the day. But we have Michelle Pitts-Luckett, Dr. Tipton, Tori Lowe, Regina Wise. The workshops during the day is actually personal. Very personal to me, because Francesca Robinson is my baby sister who watched me grieve. So she's going to use kingdom principles for navigating through grief. And my other sister, Justina Williams, we just experienced another loss while I'm planning for this grief conference. My nephew, who I was very instrumental in his upbringing, passed away last week. So we having a homegoing for him tomorrow. And so this is right in the middle of us doing, the grief and healing conference. So God is so strategic in everything that he do. And I think that this is so needed. And I want people to know you don't have to grieve alone. This has affected 100% of us. Most of us have experienced some type of loss.
So you have a gala and you have workshops. So talk a little bit about the workshops.
So the workshops is during the day. They're going to start at 9. I'm sorry. The doors are open, I think, at like 8 or 9 o'clock. My sister Francesca, she's going to be doing her workshop at 10:45. The Kingdom Strategies for Navigating Through Grief, and they have done so much work in preparation for this. I'm so excited about my brother-in-law, James Robinson. He's going to pray us into the day. And I think it'll be beneficial to everybody. It's just, and then I also have a good close cousin that lives in Indianapolis, Indiana. She reached out to me and she said that she's not on my flyer, but she do mind body medicine, and she's going to also be added to the workshops during the day because she just wanted to participate. She just wanted to help. And that's when I say grief all of us have experienced grief. I've gotten so many calls where I just don't have the space for it, right? But so many people wanted to help and do workshops and stuff like that. So we know that it's a need in our community for it, because I think a lot of the bad behavior is connected to grief, and grief is just love with nowhere to go.
And then so actually this is all day. What time does it start?
It starts at 10:30. Okay. But the doors will be open. So I have some amazing vendors, and vendors will be setting up at 8 o'clock. They'll start setting up, and so the doors will be open. People can start coming in then if they just want to. And my brunches, everything is elaborate. My food, I'm doing buffet style, and it's a variety of everything. I'm so excited about that because we always looking for food, right? So I think that it's going to be a great day. I don't want people to be discouraged about the price, because I've gotten calls. One call in particular, a young man who said that he had experienced, I think his uncle passed away August 22nd, which is my son's birthday. And he was saying that the cost, and I was like, well, don't let the cost keep you from coming. Let me know what you can do so we can figure it out so you can be there, because more importantly than anything, the body's in the room. God will provide.
Okay, and where's it being held?
It's going to be at the 4 Point Sheridan and Brown Deer. It's going to be all the way until the evening. Now, I don't anticipate that people will stay until 12 midnight, even though I have it until 12 midnight. We're thinking about cutting everything off around 10 o'clock, but the Sheridan has everything set up for us to go all the way over until 12 o'clock midnight.
Okay. And so if people want to, are you still looking for vendors, or are you set for vendors?
Well, I think that I'm all out of space for vendors. However, if people don't get to me today, between today and Friday, they'll end up having to pay at the door. I would prefer that they reach out to me or my baby sister. Is it okay if I give my number?
Mm-hmm.
My number is 414-477-6516. And my sister number, Francesca, her number is 414-639-1408. 414-639-1408.
That's the first annual Grief and Healing Conference, August 22nd, 4 Point Sheridan, which is, what's that, 6,900, 8,900 Killdeer?
Killdeer.
Yeah, okay.
Mm-hmm.
A wide range of folks who will be there starting in the day. They have a brunch, and then they have a gala in the evening. Again, if you're interested in being a part of this, give that phone number again.
414-477-6516. 414-477-6516. Also, my baby sister, Francesca Robinson, 414-639-1408. 414-639-1408.
Anything else you want folks to know?
Don't think that this is going to be a day where we are just crying and everybody is sad because we've experienced this, because that's not what this is about. This is about celebrating the life and the legacy of my son, celebrating the person that he was, and all the other individuals in the room who have experienced some type of loss. We are celebrating our loved ones, and that's why I wanted Rico Love. That's why I wanted Jay Most, because it lightens up the day. We also have Alvina. She's Alvina Richburg. She's coming from Minnesota also, and she's going to do a line dancing workshop. So the day, when you say grief, it sounds heavy, but it doesn't have to be, because we're hurting and healing at the same time.
Ms. Teresa Langdon, and she's here and to present the first annual Grief and Healing Conference held on Saturday, August 22nd at the Four Points Sheraton. Again, for information, you can call Fran at 414-639-1408 or Teresa at 414-477-6516. Appreciate you coming in and
Thank
sharing
you
this
so
with
much,
the community.
Keith. Thank you for having me. I appreciate your time.
No problem. You're listening to Community Voice. We're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back.
When we wanted to expand access for folks in need of bikes, we turned to Veolia. The result, the new Veolia EcoPass program that has dramatically increased access to our bike share system for folks all throughout our community, connecting students to schools, people looking for work with employers, the community with parks. Thanks to our partnership with Veolia, Bubbler Bikes is serving more people than ever before. Those are Milwaukee values.
I'm Jim Plaisted. I'm the executive director of the Historic Third Ward Association and also a resident of the Historic Third Ward. Somebody's got to manage this, right, and care for our waterways and care for the treatment of our waterways. We couldn't do it without MMSD and Veolia. They've just been a great partner as long as I've known them. It's just been an amazing recovery for this body of water. MMSD and Veolia have been a big part of getting that clean and enjoyable for all of us.
We have been in business here for 14 years. I believe the rivers are the cleanest they've ever been. We get lots of people on our rivers in canoes, kayaks, stand-up paddleboards. People are happy to be here, and it's growing every year. We love our partnership with Veolia. They help the kayak company grow. I definitely don't think we would be here without Veolia and MMSD. Clean water is essential.
The work we're doing at Veolia is absolutely bringing access to the water for people. To be able to have this job to help keep our rivers clean and our lake clean is the greatest thing I could ask to be doing with my time. It feels good. You're accomplishing something that is truly helping everybody in the community I was born and raised in. Water is our greatest resource. We all need it to survive. Veolia is 100% doing great work.
All right, welcome back to Community Voice. And I was starting to tell, I was having a conversation. I said last week, one of the issues that millenniums, Gen Xers and millenniums have at this point is their question. And I just said, it wasn't my perspective, the question of like boomers get out the way. And that's what I was saying. Not that boomers should get out the way, but at some point, we are getting close where, like Eleanor Holmes Norton, who was the delegate from D.C., and she could barely function. Mitch McConnell. I mean, I think at some point, time should say, you should get out the way. But who am I? But interestingly enough, I was talking to a Republican friend of mine, and we were just kind of doing a little postmortem of the Democratic primary. And we were talking about Francesca Hahn. I'm going to tell you, I know everybody won't keep it real, like I'm just going to be my genuine self. I'm just saying, if you're trying to get elected, one of those things is what's your appearance and what that looks like, because a lot of it is done through media, right? What people see in media. And I said to my guy, I said, Francesca Hahn had a great ground game. Their ground game, man, that whole getting out, having people knock on doors. But the majority of people were exposed to you through media. And I said, though she had a great ground game, her media PR game wasn't as good. And what I mean by that is, for a lot of people, perception is their reality. What you look like, is what people, and it shouldn't be. I know we're supposed to be voting on the issues and people, but how you look. And, it gets down to, are you a woman that can work for you, work against you? Are you a black male that can work for you, work against you, depending on what environment you're running in? Now, it helped Barack Obama that Barack Obama looks like Barack Obama, right? And then when you compared him to John McCain, who looked, kind of old, and Barack represented change and vitality and relative youth, that went somewhere with folks. But I was listening to Michelle talk about Debbie Wasserman Schultz. Ego is a monster, man. It's hard for some of us to believe that the world can exist without us, right? And so I remember them having this whole debate about who was going to get out the race to run against, Debbie Wasserman Schultz. And everybody had their reasons. I'm the strongest candidate. Well, obviously you weren't, because you would have had her numbers, right? So that's always a tough one. Who should run? I know we were having this debate when David and Mandela was still in the primary, where, people were saying, well, one of them should get out. I don't know. I don't know. And look, America is so racialized. I mean, it's our thing, right? And if race doesn't matter, or you think race doesn't matter, you're deluding yourself. Race does matter. I think it matters more than it should, but race does matter. Those factors go in. I was talking, and this brother, he's about 8-9 years younger than me, but he went to a prestigious all-boys high school in his hometown. And he told me there's like 16 black students in the entire school. And he was talking about how him and one of his classmates, where a lot of the brothers dropped out, they endured, but then they were talking about the racial incidents that they had. And I thought, wow, I cannot Maybe there were one or two racial incidents when I was in high school. Now, I'm in high school before him, but to see that was still an issue either in the 80s or going into the 90s, it was sobering for me because I didn't, other than the one incident I had my sophomore year with a guy, and we got into it, and he dropped the N-word, and next thing you know, it's on and cracking. Now, I give him credit. I guess sincerity is not required. He did, after we graduate, apologize for that. But then he tried to explain to me, and I don't know where white folks and black folks get this from. Okay. He goes, and I'm only using this because I'm quoting him. He says that, there are white niggers. I'm going, last time I checked, there was, unless they biracial. I don't see that. And the interesting thing was he was Irish, right? And so the Irish have their own unique history in Europe, and there's certainly their own unique history here in America. And maybe that's how the Irish felt about themselves when they were in Europe. But I was pointing to him and to anybody else, no, that word was created for and about descendants of Africans, either enslaved or otherwise, right? So when people use that word, and so that's how we get down to using the word and who uses the word, because it's how it's used. And I know for a lot of people, oh man, we should never use that word, the history of that word. And I'm going also, yeah, but there's some culture that's attached to that word. And I'm sure, because I don't think, and again, not to be offensive to any of the Jewish listeners there, I don't know if black people can be a kike, right? I don't know if black people can be a Mick, unless, I don't know if black folks can be a Dago, unless you're mixed race, right? Or mixed ethnicity. So when he said that to me, I just kind of like, no, I appreciate you feeling badly for it, but your anthropological explanation is inaccurate. That word was created for, not by black folks, but because of enslavement, because of colonization. And it's a unique word that's usually applied uniquely to descendants of Africans and enslaved Africans who find themselves in the United States of America. Now, I know culturally, because of hip hop and the spread, that word has been used, is used in lyrics to songs. And so you could have somebody, again, descendants of Africans. I don't know if it's the same thing in Jamaica. So all my folks who might be, descendants or have Jamaican lineage, you can tell me. I don't know if it's the same thing in the Dominican Republic. Now, I do know that when Jamaicans and Dominicans and Puerto Ricans get stateside, that word becomes part of, the lexicon. Okay. So anyway, that was just, I'm kind of waiting on my guest. She's running a little late to arrive, but yeah, that was an interesting conversation when I had with him when he talked about that. Wow. Now, we did have some incidents there, but I don't know. I would have to talk to my black classmates in terms of, did they ever have any experience where, I mean, we thought like certain things were racial, like the number of black people that could be on the floor doing for varsity basketball. There was a young man there who was a pretty good quarterback, but they didn't want a black quarterback. I mean, that was happening in the 70s. That was happening in the 80s. But
we can play for your team, but we can't.
What, be a black quarterback?
Yeah. but we can
Well, I
get,
think because what the black quarterback represented, he represented, a quarterback represents the leadership of the team, right? In the pros, the highest paid player on the team is who? The quarterback, and then there would be all these reasons why you didn't want a black quarterback. He's athletic. Yeah, because when I got a 350-pound lineman coming up on me, I need to have some escapability, right? You had guys out there with no escapability, Ben Roethlisberger. Yeah, man, he just sit up there and he just take it, man. I mean, the idea of the mobile quarterback, and look, which is really ironic to me because in the early inception of football, most things were running. I don't know if it was Newt Rockne, whoever brought the forward pass in. When they brought the forward pass in, that was like revolutionary because most quarterbacks ran, right? I mean, so of course you want a mobile quarterback. I mean, and now you can't be a drop back quarterback in the NFL. Your shelf life is going to be because you're getting taken out. The lineman, the defensive lineman, the defense is just so athletic, right? That no, man, you gonna be done. You history. Cancel Christmas. And then here's what's crazy. And I don't know if you remember Fran Tarkenton.
Yeah, I remember Fran. I just like Fran Tarkenton.
Yeah, why? Because he was a scrambler.
Yeah,
that's what that term. The first time I ever heard the term was applied to Fran Tarkenton because that Minnesota line couldn't block for him. He had no choice. Well, the New York line because he started off in New York and then ended up in Minnesota.
Yeah.
But and dude had never missed a game. He never missed a game till he got hurt, the last game of his career. Because I mean, you running for your life.
Yeah, Fran Tarkenton be moving. He was always scrambling.
Yeah, anybody remember Lynn Dickey? Lynn Dickey had one of the greatest arms ever, but he had no mobility, so he was always hurt.
Yeah,
he was always hurt. So yeah, I mean, I think the new game is such where I don't know. Who you think? Because Doug Williams wasn't a mobile quarterback; he was drop back.
Yeah.
But I'm trying to think who would be. Well, there was a guy. He played at USC, ended up playing for the Bears. Vince Evans. Vince Evans, man. He not only did he have a strong arm. Randall Cunningham. Randall Cunningham, but not only did he have a strong arm. He had mobility, and then he had set the record for the longest punt in NFL history. And he was the younger brother of Sam Bam Cunningham. Everybody remember Sam Bam Cunningham because when USC played Alabama, that great game. Boy, they try to make Bear Bryant like this guy. Oh man, don't even get me started on it. But then I'm a big fan of the Southeast Conference, right? I mean that's where college football is played in my mind. But so there's been there was a guy named Dickey. Yeah, I'm thinking blank on his first name. He's one of the first starting black quarterbacks. And then who was my guy? They ended up being a receiver, but he started in the AFL. I can't think of the dude's name now. So you had it, but man, the football is still the last plantation.
So do you think it's more a black quarterback playing now in college than it was back then?
Oh yeah, without question.
And why is that?
Well, they're good. I mean, they're good quarterbacks. I mean those guys. When you look at the Mahomes of the world, who is it? Is it Jalen Hurt? My guy is it Caleb Williams down in Chicago? Who's my other guy? Lamar Jackson. These dudes are now. My problem with Lamar though is that sometimes he's not the most accurate quarterback, and I think a lot of that is movement. And at least now he's not thinking run as soon as I get in trouble. Just follow, your progressions. But if you have the athletic ability, you're gonna use it.
How you think Huntley gonna do in Miami?
They got anybody to block for him? Because where did Tua end up? He's gone now, right? Yeah, Tua's gone. And then the little quarterback from the Cardinals, he's playing for the Vikings.
Oh, I can't think of that.
Yeah, my problem with him is though he's just too little. You know that Murray. Yeah, I mean he's just small. That's great. Great that they have a 5'5" quarterback playing for Minnesota. I'm worried about the Bears, and I haven't been worried about the Bears for a long time. But you know, the Bears is like one of the better teams in the NFC North. I'm worried about the Bears. And I shouldn't be worried about the Bears.
I don't think we're gonna be blowing them out no time soon.
No, the Bears.
I don't know. We ain't gonna be.
The Bears might be a problem this year, man.
I'm thinking the Bears might be a problem. They were a problem last year.
They might be a problem because they offense have now stepped up. They defense has stepped up. Special teams look good.
Did they beat the Packers 3 times?
They beat the Packers twice.
Once in the playoffs though, when it
mattered. Yeah, when it counted.
Yeah. Okay.
So yeah.
We ain't gonna be Bears, we ain't gonna be talking about we own them no more.
Yeah, it ain't no more of this. And the Bears suck because man, they look good.
Or I own you.
Yeah, and even Minnesota, man.
That's what I just said. Yeah. Was it Kyler Murray?
Yeah, Murray.
I think though, first of all, Packers don't get my guy back until the 6th game, ironically against the Micah Parsons.
Yeah,
it'd be against the Cowboys though.
And you know the Cowboys just got what's the name? The defensive end. What was the defensive cat? Real big name cat.
Myles Garrett went to the.
No, but that Myles Garrett.
He went to the Rams.
Hold on. Well, I can find out for you.
Yeah. All right, y'all. 414-444-5250. 414-444. Who?
Von Miller.
Von Miller is old.
No, but this is the thing though. Coming off the edge, yes, he's old, but he got Gray with him. I mean, Gary with him. He got I forgot the other guy. So coming off the edge, all they gonna do is push him to his edge. So all he got to do is really break through. So he really ain't got to work.
They still got the same quarterback.
Yeah, Caleb Williams.
It's about Dallas.
Yeah,
Dak Prescott.
Yeah. So yeah, man, with Von Miller on one.
This might be his last year, though. I think Jerry Jones is not happy paying him all that money.
Yeah, but he just paid him all of that. He was the one that just signed him.
I know he just signed him, but
that's his MO.
Yeah. Yeah, well, because if you don't produce, you know, his mind, you know, okay.
So why they trade for Gary like that?
They trade for Gary because we got Micah Parsons.
Yeah, but they believe in Gary.
Oh,
we didn't believe in, and he was with us for years.
No, I think we did believe with him. I believe that they had to get something to get Micah Parsons, so they gave up like their interior. That's their interior defense. That dude was like the anchor there.
So why didn't they give up Luke Van Ness?
Van Ness is not the same player as Gary. Not Gary.
So they said Gary better than Gary.
Gary's linebacker. No, the other dude.
No. Gary is a defensive end. So I mean, Rashawn Gary, he's a defensive end.
Is that who they gave up?
Yeah.
Okay.
So they gave up Rashawn Gary and the big dude in the they signed Rashawn Gary, but they gave up big dude in the middle. What's his name? Watts. Big dude.
That's money situation with that.
And then they signed
money situation.
Rashad.
Let's do the Michael Parsons trade.
What's his name? Watts. I mean, I think they gave up Watts, right?
Parsons. Let's see. Parsons trade. Let's see. Kenny Clark.
Yeah, Clark.
Yeah. And they signed Gary.
Okay. So yeah, they believe in Gary.
Gary, I mean, well, Gary was a good linebacker. Yeah. Is Walker still with them?
Kenneth Walker? Not Kenneth Walker. Kenneth was a running back.
The dude from Georgia.
Oh, you talking about the linebacker?
Linebacker.
No, he gone.
Wow.
Yeah, he gone.
Well, we're getting close, man. Opening day is what? I mean, for us, September 13th. Oh. All right, y'all. 414-444-5250. 414-444-5250. No callers. Nobody in the shed. Best ginger ale in America, I think, is Verner's. Probably, I love Verner's, but Verner's has so much sugar in it. It's a big one. When I was still drinking soda, I tried. Man, this is more soda than I've had in about 3-4 weeks. So,
Yeah,
good for the stomach, though.
yeah. It actually hit the spot, man. Because I normally don't drink sodas neither, but I needed that acid, man, to help.
Excuse me.
Get that belt.
Well, you got your steps in today.
Oh yeah, I almost got hit by a car.
That's my fear now.
Jesus, man.
I'm at the age group where they just run you over. I think, what was that movie back in the day? Death Race 5,000.
Oh,
That's what I kind of feel like. I don't know how many points they get for taking me out.
Wait a minute. So, what was the name of that movie that everybody was talking about? I think it was called Faces of Death.
Yeah, Faces.
That they had different parts of it.
People dying.
Yeah,
Faces
the which
of
is
Death.
crazy. Now, why would they put a movie out?
Why would people want to see it?
And that's what I'm tripping
Well,
about.
there
Like,
you
man,
go.
people was
Because people want to see it.
like, man, people used to pack the theaters out to go see Faces of Death.
You know,
I'm
it's like-
gonna tell you the movie that I do not watch. That's that Final Destination.
Now,
one?
so, yeah,
All
which
of
one? 1 through 9. Because I ain't even gonna lie.
I can't watch that like that because I be thinking like, what if that can't happen?
Yeah,
you know
that
what?
shit's-
They had some great kill scenes in
Yeah,
Final
they
Destination.
did.
They've
I
had some
cannot
great
watch
kill
that.
scenes.
But you know what? That's just like walking outside. Now, I don't know if y'all remember this. A couple years ago, I'm gonna say had to be about a good 10, 12 years ago. Airplane was flying over, and the part of the gas tank fell off the airplane and hit a car on like Townsend or like something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it had dislodged from the airplane as it was flying over and fell onto a car, smashed the top of the car. That's the type of Final Destination stuff
Yeah.
that you know that we'd be like, it can never happen in real life, but it really can, because it actually happened. Like, man, I remember seeing it because I drove by the car and it was on the news and everything like that.
Nobody in it was.
No.
Oh, cool.
But they were saying that man, that a part from the airplane had came off of the airplane as it was flying over and fell down. So just imagine you outside walking.
Yeah, I know. That's why I don't like watching that movie.
See what I'm saying? Yeah.
That's the reason why.
Y'all so scary.
Well, it's like, man, like you escape a shootout,
Yeah,
you
y'all
escape
so-
a dog
y'all so-
attack,
y'all
then you
so
get hit by an
scary.
airplane.
Right. Cancer free.
Right.
Get hit by a car.
Like what?
Life could be, you know, you try to explain some things that happen in life,
Yeah, it's
and
unexplainable.
it is unexplainable. It's just like Jim Fix, who was the guy who started the jogging craze in the country. He was a 2-3 pack a day smoker, and he quit smoking, and he started running. You know, he still died from congested heart failure.
Well, yeah, from years of
You know, be in the best shape of your life, and you know, it can that and I, you know, for people, Pastor McVicker was saying this at Marcy's funeral. You know, and it's true, and we didn't talk about it here when I was talking to Ms. Langdon, but we always want to ask the question why.
right.
You know, like, and he said, and I appreciate this, he said, I'm pushing back on God calls this. Just things in life happens, you know. We try to explain it. That's what religion is supposed to help us do, try to explain the unexplainable. You know, one of the reasons why if you're Jewish, you know, you believe in life and resurrection. If you're maybe Christian and certain Catholic, you believe in heaven and hell. Other people believe in the cycle of life where, you know, we're trying to explain something that no one has ever come back to tell us. And I understand, I'm not talking about these people said that, I'm talking about somebody been good and dead, buried, good and dead, and came back and said what the afterlife was like. Even when Jesus came back, he didn't talk about
he
the
never
afterlife.
described,
He
yeah.
talked about what people should be doing here.
Yeah.
So we can only speculate on what's after death.
Yeah.
It is speculation. It's a belief system. Factually, so we don't know.
So do you believe that, and I know, man, you got to go to break, but do you believe that God will allow it?
Oh, obviously.
Yeah.
I mean, and that's the whole piece of it. Because when you really have this conversation, you know, when Carlton Pearson had come out and said some of these things that pushed that back up against orthodoxy, against our whole sense of things that, you know, maybe God doesn't have favorites. You know, that pushed up a lot of Christians who really believe. I mean, wasn't T.D. Jakes famous for saying favor ain't fair? Yeah, I don't know. And then what is favor? I mean, how was I born in the family that I was born in, as opposed to another family that we might be sitting up here talking about now?
Well, again, and this is actually traced back to the Bible of generational curses because of what your forefathers have done before you.
But think about all the people whose forefathers did awful stuff, and they didn't have the so-called generational curse.
Well, I mean, now,
you know, so I mean,
generational curses can be broken.
Well, no, I'm saying that it was just never. I mean, we want to be absolute, but the problem is there are very few absolutes, and I think that that's hard for human beings, because human beings, you know, once I get it locked in, this is what it is, and then you'll find something will happen. Like you all were talking about parts falling out the sky. Well, it don't happen every day, and it doesn't happen. But then that one day that it does happen. Yeah. So, or the guy who was down in Warwick County, working on the tree,
and he got struck by lightning.
It got struck by lightning. You know, I mean, when you look at the winning the lottery, I mean, there are things out there where it's probable. You know, or the probability is low, the possibility
that it can happen.
Right. And then so I think it's one of those things we do as humans, and we're going to ask why, or we're going to ask how. You know, I remember I was telling my buddy found out he had a stroke, and he said, "What were you doing?" Having a stroke, man. Now, everything that behaviors led up to what caused the stroke.
Right.
You know, but it wasn't, you know, and so I think because Rhonda always remind me, I said this thing, Black people just can't die. There's always a story where Black people die. Man. You know, I mean, it was, you know, that's part of it. Like, oh man, well, you know, because then people, they know your backstory. It's like, da-da-da-da-da. And then you begin to, so it's what we do. We speculate. You know, we interject our thoughts, our feelings, which might be so far. And that's why I get back to those that talk don't know, and those that know don't talk.
Man, that's just like that dude in Africa that actually died, but he keep coming back to life. So they put him in the house and burnt his house up, and he was dead. He was in the coffin and came back to life. So they think that this dude is a witch. You can actually look it up. They think he's a witch. He had to move and live isolated because people was trying to kill him because they think he's a witch.
How many people in the world? What's the world population?
A whole bunch.
7 billion.
A whole heap of.
1 out of 7 billion.
Whole heap of.
1 out of 7 billion. All right. You're listening to Community Voice. We're going to take a break, and we'll be right back.
When we wanted to expand access for folks in need of bikes, we turned to Veolia. The result, the new Veolia EcoPass program that has dramatically increased access to our bike share system for folks all throughout our community, connecting students to schools, people looking for work with employers, the community with parks. Thanks to our partnership with Veolia, Bubbler Bikes is serving more people than ever before. Those are Milwaukee values.
I'm Jim Playstead. I'm the Executive Director of the Historic Third Ward Association and also a resident of the Historic Third Ward. Somebody's got to manage this, right, and care for our waterways and care for the treatment of our waterways. We couldn't do it without MMSD and Veolia. They've just been a great partner as long as I've known them. It's just been an amazing recovery for this body of water. MMSD and Veolia have been a big part of getting that clean and enjoyable for all of us.
We have been in business here for 14 years. I believe the rivers are the cleanest they've ever been. We get lots of people on our rivers in canoes, kayaks, stand-up paddleboards. People are happy to be here, and it's growing every year. We love our partnership with Veolia. They help the kayak company grow. I definitely don't think we would be here without Veolia and MMSD. Clean water is essential.
The work we're doing at Veolia is absolutely bringing access to the water for people. To be able to have this job to help keep our rivers clean and our lake clean is the greatest thing I could ask to be doing with my time. It feels good. You're accomplishing something that is truly helping everybody in the community I was born and raised in. Water is our greatest resource. We all need it to survive. Veolia is 100% doing great work.
with your host, Keith Parris.
Welcome back, and boy, what an honor to be joined in studio by Dr. Eve Hall, President and CEO of the Milwaukee Urban League. Good morning.
Good morning. You're not laughing. I hear the audience like, oh my God, really? Oh,
Yeah, we're live. It's a live audience out there. How are you this morning?
I am good. I am good. It's always fun to hang out at WNOV. It's always fun to hang out at WNOV and talk to you.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
And
And everyone's so kind.
I told
So,
folks on Monday you were our Women's Day speaker. Phenomenal message.
oh, thank you.
You blessed me in so many different ways, and we were even talking about it afterwards. So
Oh, thank
you.
It was an honor.
Yeah, well, and you said that kind of a little pressure, huh?
I know, especially when I saw you and you said, "Oh, you're going to be our speaker." I said, okay, I wonder who else is in that. But that's okay, no matter what. It was special, and as I had mentioned, this is my mother's birthday month. She would have been 95 on August 25th.
Day after my mom.
Oh wow!
She's August 24th.
24th,
She'll
and
be
that's
92.
something.
Still
Wow.
is, yeah.
So, part of that group, right?
Mhm.
In terms of educators and influencers in the city, along with your mother. So
You were
it was
talking
special to be the speaker for Mother's Day. And then, as I mentioned to you, my grandparents, right? My grandfather being the deacon, grandmother being in the choir, the Bible school teacher, and then thinking about how we were up there as grandchildren, 6 or 7 of us, in one of the front 2 rows, and we better not move. We had to totally behave because my grandfather, the deacon, could look right at you because he was at that table in the middle when they were counting money and doing whatever they do. And then if he didn't see you, my grandmother was in the choir, so she could see you. And this was in Albion, Michigan.
This, the just the cultural significance of the Black church. Black church is not perfect, but the Black church got us through.
That's right.
And I think that there's a lot. I mean, it was incubator for many of our musicians, for example, where this is where they get their start. People become orators, all these different things. So it culturally, it becomes part, talking about the Milwaukee Urban League. And my mother, who I'm just, Lord willing, next Monday will be 92, talked about when she was a teenager, how they would go to the Urban League. How old is the Urban League here?
I believe that. So we were founded in 1919. So we are about 107 years old now. So we celebrated our centennial in 2019, 1 year before COVID. Thank God we were able to have our big celebration. But I'm not surprised, when we look at the history of the Urban League, it started, first of all, to support our Black families and individuals who are moving from the South to the North during the Great Migration. And during the time we had all these manufacturing jobs, we had different opportunities. And so, and that was happening not just here, but Chicago, Gary, Detroit, and other Midwest states,
Bill Wilkerson
especially.
talks about it in Warmth of the Other Sun.
Absolutely. There's a piece in there about that, right? And so, it was really decided back in 1910 by a diverse group of individuals in New York, white and Black, that because of the changing demographics, because of what was happening in the cities, there needed to be some type of urban advocacy, social service type of organizations to support the movement in these cities and to support communities. And so that's really why we were born. So what did that mean? That meant that when families came here, we were the voice between business, community, government, encouraging them to hire our people, getting into partnerships around employment and training, providing any of the educational, social graces, et cetera, that were needed, for our young people, for our adults, supporting entrepreneurs who were trying to start businesses, giving access and information on health, where people could get some kind of support for their health. In fact, we were actually in a partnership around creating one of the first drugstores or pharmacies for African Americans as well. And then housing, helping to support housing. So, you think about all those areas along with just the general civic engagement and social justice issues that we were always advocating for. If it was not for the urban leagues, which we are up to about 92 affiliates around the country, we are in 36 states and the District of Columbia. We're in just about every metropolitan area. The stabilization of our families over the years would not have occurred in the way that it did because we were that core for so long as an urban league.
It can be very jarring coming from a rural area, different speed in terms of lifestyle, and then primarily because I think the Urban League started in New York.
It did.
Right.
It
and
did.
so now you coming up to New York, or you coming to Chicago, and very different, or even coming to Milwaukee.
Right.
And what that looked like. The advocacy piece, though, was it was in the 60s under Whitney Young.
Correct.
I think, but when people, it wasn't your traditional civil rights organization, correct? I mean,
right. So the way I differ, I distinguish the two because a lot of times people will say it's like the NAACP, or they'll say, well, I already gave to the NAACP, that type of thing. When really we're kind of brother and sister, in the movement. And why I say that is on the Urban League side, there was always a focus around the economic advancement and stability of our community. So a lot around jobs. So for instance, Whitney Young was the person who really helped to open the doors with the federal government, with government and also corporations taking us seriously in terms of there needed to be opportunities for us in these two sectors. And then he was very strong around also the development of the staff, of the people that worked for the Urban League. The NAACP was really that one that was in the courts, really fighting the cases. So I always use the example, Keith Parris has enough money to move into this house in such and such neighborhood, but all of a sudden you can't because they're redlining or, they have the policies, et cetera. So the exactly, the covenant. So the NAACP is in the court and they're there to advocate, to, work on your behalf to try to get you in that house or to just look at the policies that are impacting our inability to have that kind of access.
And I thought about that because I was watching the signing of the Civil Rights Act, and Whitney Young was in the picture.
Yes.
And even the March on Washington, because it was for, and this people missed this piece of the jobs and justice.
That's right.
And that's how you saw the Urban League, their involvement in that. Obviously, Philip Randolph with the Porter,
the railroad, yes,
railroad folks, and it was an interesting coalition. They called it the Big Five.
Yes,
interesting coalition of people coming together. But I think sometimes we miss that a lot of our organizations have their own lane.
That's true.
And I think it's not just one way where the NAACP was really about litigation primarily. Where you had the Urban League, it was more hands-on. Like, we got to get people
right.
jobs.
Kind of that, right. It was that direct service,
right.
And empowerment. And even today, jobs are still huge in terms of adults and even youth, and also education. We're not necessarily educators at the Urban League. That's part of my background. But just as an Urban League, we provide youth services, different supports. So like we had our AI summer boot camp this summer. We had two cohorts of students. One group was 12 of them. The second group is 11. And their grades 8 through 12. And they're learning, how to effectively use Chat GPT, how to create their own website. But it's all based around them identifying an issue that's most important to them. It could be mental health, it could be food scarcity, housing, youth violence. They've chosen, each of them have chosen a particular issue and then used AI to present that issue and also present their solutions to the issue. So on tomorrow, we are actually having the students provide their presentation. So you're more than welcome to come. I'm going to send that invite to you, and you will be able to hear a student, because they'll be at individual stations, for them to share with you the issue that they identified and their resolve around that issue.
How are you navigating this current and climate right now, where the Trump administration, I just say this, has really attacked so-called DEI? That makes it a little bit more difficult for you right now, right?
Well, it has. It has definitely made an impact on our overall organization, both locally and nationally. And so what we've really done, Keith, is we keep navigating the waters so that we do what we need to do to maintain our funding, to maintain our services without compromising our core values, without compromising any of our programs. So, of course, it's all around the language and making sure that no matter what, any and everyone can participate in our programs and services. And we've always been that way. Now, we make no apology that we were founded on the basis of helping African Americans. That was a place and time when we were truly needed in that vein. We weren't at the point that we're at now. And we still don't make an apology that the majority of the individuals that we work with and address are of African American descent, right? But at the same time, we're also very clear that if you come through the door, we don't care what color you are, if you need support, services, or what have you, as we've always been, we will be there.
Yeah, and I don't, when you hear urban, we always associate that, not always, but we associate that with, Black folks. But obviously, we see how diverse America was. Certainly, America's more diverse now. And I hate to use the term race because race is a construct. But when we look at, growing up here in Milwaukee, man, it was either you were of African descent or European descent. Very small so-called Latino Hispanic population.
Yes.
That's changed now.
Yes.
And very much part of the urban landscape. And in some ways, many of these folks are like our folks who came from the South, right? Kind of first generation here trying to navigate. It can be pretty difficult in an urban environment.
Right. And we on a national level have formed a coalition where you have Latino and others, that are part of a coalition, just looking at everything that's occurring in our democracy. And just like here, I have conversations with my Latino colleagues about what is occurring and just learning more of the pressures that they're going through. But you're right. There are some real similarities in terms of what we went through during our time. And quite frankly, we still have our challenges. There is truth to the DWB, driving while Black, and walking while Black, and it's still there.
Walking while Hispanic.
That's right.
ICE being pretty much like early police back post enslavement, where it was there to kind of pretty much keep descendants of Africans in line and reinforcing the segregation system. I think overall, people need to, there's just more, we need to do the Ubuntu on all of this and understand I'm connected to this person when you do the divide. Now, we just go on and on and on about your driver's ed program.
Right. That's huge for us.
My wife mentioned it to you, didn't she?
Yes, she did. Yeah. That was so funny because Rhonda and I worked together before. Didn't even realize we were at Family Service of Milwaukee. And so when I went up there and then she was sitting there, we were just like, oh my goodness. But yes, we constantly have waiting lists for driver's permit classes. So 15 through 17-year-olds. We started that a few years ago because we have been for years providing driver's permit classes to adults. But we had not really done it for youth because remember, at one time, the school system was providing driver's ed and there was no charge. And then they basically stopped, or at this time, it's still limited with the numbers that they serve. So private lessons are expensive, whether you are whatever income you are, especially lower middle, whatever. I mean, it's costly, period. So we continue to raise the money to provide that with very little cost from the student or the parent, and we will continue to do so.
What are some of the other programming you offer?
So we are actually in schools. Project Ready Mentor is a program for students basically 6 through 12. And we are in the classroom once a week, and everything from some of the, special activities around socio-emotional, critical thinking skills, just really keeping students engaged and supported while they're in school. They have community service projects that they do. We also have them in different field trips that deal with skills and post-secondary opportunities. So just really exposing them to what's out in the community. We host a STEAM summit, so science, technology, engineering, and math at Discovery World. So those students, along with others, participate in
What's
that
the age?
programming. So what is that? 11 through about 17. So we're talking really 6th through 12th grade for Project Ready Mentor.
Well, and I say that because
and it might be 5th. My program team, I'm sure, is correcting me as I speak. But
yeah, and Faith just sent me the summer camp's AI student capstone celebration.
Yes, thank you, Faith. And that's what I was inviting you to. So that's 3:00 at Thrive On. And these students were 8 through 12. They represent public, private, and charter schools. The students just phenomenal. I mean, bright, great ideas, solutions, innovation. So we're really proud to be hosting this. We partnered with Unorthodox Solutions. So we have two instructors and instructional support. So Brandon Jackson, Ryan Rogers, and Brian Taylor Hewitt, which is great. They're entrepreneurs and instructors that are teaching our kids. And so they get a chance to see role models each day they're in class, which is Monday through Thursday for 4 hours.
Yeah, we're trying to get our goddaughter old enough where she can really go to geek camps.
Okay.
Especially good math. And so being able to do that. I think we miss that, classrooms is only part of instruction. Kids' exposure to things outside the classroom really helps. We have a lot of kids who don't necessarily have those outlets, and they're very, very, very smart kids.
Right.
But no one ever said, hey, you could do this, or put you in this environment where you see something different than your normal.
Well, and what's really special about our class is that students are not just learning AI, but they're also identifying who are some of the legacy heroes and sheroes that we're exposing them to, and who do you relate to? So we've had students relate to Ruby Bridges, John Lewis, MLK, and others. And what part of their work is, what legacy do they want to leave? So they're thinking about their life, and they are learning presentation skills. So we have the students actually going up in front, speaking, practicing. Those are not experiences that you get in the everyday class these days. And oftentimes for our students, they're, kind of lost in the midst of other students, and they don't necessarily always get those opportunities depending on what schools they're going to. So the opportunity to also be in a smaller classroom and get that immediate attention was huge. I actually had a student, she said to me from our first cohort, wow, I thought it was going to be a lot of students. And at first, I thought she was saying that because of disappointment, but she was saying it because she was glad. She then told me, no, but I'm glad. No, I'm glad that it's not a lot of students.
Well, you know, it's from pedagogy that the smaller the classroom, the more attention they get from the teacher.
Oh, I get it. I
Yeah,
get it.
and
I'm
get
a
the-
former learning disabilities teacher. I used to take small groups of students at a time
Right.
for that very reason. So, when we have had the fights basically in education around student teacher ratios, there's something to that, because when you have one student to 20 students and 30 students and 35, students are not getting the attention that they need.
And a lot of it is in spite of, remember we were all in one schoolhouse? Yeah, but it would have been, and no disrespect to those teachers who did it, if we were able to spread those kids out, have been in their appropriate grades where you can get that one-on-one attention, you would probably even have even better educational, outcomes.
Correct. Let me just add a couple other things. When we speak about what we do, we are also supporting entrepreneurship. So we have a youth entrepreneurship youth market on Saturday, August 29th, where students, I believe they're ages 12 through 17, will be able to promote and showcase their product or whatever it is that they have created. And that will actually be held at the Urban League. The day before, we have something for adult entrepreneurs at Molson Coors, because we are partnered with them around entrepreneurship. So we will have a special speaker, Alan Goodman, who has created cheesecakes and all kinds of desserts. You may remember him, but he also, I believe, partnered with Palermo's at one point, but has a very strong business background, entrepreneur background. So he's going to do something on hustle and flow, which is, how to just really keep your business going. So that is from 4 to 5:30 at Molson Coors. So we've sent that out to our members under what we call the Entrepreneurship Connection. So that's another avenue. And as you know, we always advocate for home ownership. So we have partnered with Axe Housing, with Gorman, with Metcalf Park around some individuals who have become first-time homeowners. And we continue to be in that space of at least advocacy and connecting people to the resources they need if that is their desire to own a home.
Is it, with the few minutes we have left, is it too early to talk about black and white ball?
No, we can now talk about that. So, and we try so hard, Keith, to make sure people are aware of our programs and services first, because always at the forefront of people's mind is, the Urban League does this great black and white ball. And it is great because we are the best gala in the city in terms of the diversity that's at the gala and just the opportunity to engage with so many people. But bigger than that, that is our major fundraiser. That event helps to support all that I've been speaking about in terms of our operational of the Urban League. So it is so important that, for those of you that attend, just know that whether you're buying a ticket, you're sponsoring a table, if once you get there, you provide some additional support, this is all going towards the cause of what the Urban League is about, which is to really help all of our communities win, especially focused on our community and other underserved communities, to put them in the position to be economically secure and have a good quality of life. And we need everyone's help. November 7th, first Saturday in November.
You have your
Baird Center.
You got your
414-374-5850, www.tmul.org.
you have your headliner? Not yet.
I'll
Okay.
let you know.
Okay. Dr. Eve Hall, President and CEO of the Milwaukee Urban League. Always great having her come in, letting us know the good work that the Urban League does in our community. Appreciate you.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate you back.
Give that phone number again, just in case.
414-374-5850.
Let me thank Ms. Teresa Langdon, Clark Kent, thank you. Boy, he's
Man, thank you to
soldiering.
my team, GMUL team. Go.
Right out, thank you. Dr. Hall, thank you. Hey, y'all, the good Lord willing, creek don't rise. Hope to talk to everybody tomorrow. And as always, go from this place in peace.
When we wanted to expand access for folks in need of bikes, we turned to Veolia. The result, the new Veolia EcoPass program that has dramatically increased access to our bike share system for folks all throughout our community, connecting students to schools, people looking for work with employers, the community with parks. Thanks to our partnership with Veolia, Bubbler Bikes is serving more people than ever before. Those are Milwaukee values.
I'm Jim Plaisett. I'm the executive director of the Historic Third Ward Association and also a resident of the Historic Third Ward. Somebody's got to manage this, right, and care for our waterways and care for the treatment of our waterways. We couldn't do it without MMSD and Veolia. They've just been a great partner as long as I've known them. It's just been an amazing recovery for this body of water. MMSD and Veolia have been a big part of getting that clean and enjoyable for all of us.
We have been in business here for 14 years. I believe the rivers are the cleanest they've ever been. We get lots of people on our rivers in canoes, kayaks, stand-up paddleboards. People are happy to be here, and it's growing every year. We love our partnership with Veolia. They help the kayak company grow. I definitely don't think we would be here without Veolia and MMSD. Clean water is essential.
The work we're doing at Veolia is absolutely bringing access to the water for people. To be able to have this job to help keep our rivers clean and our lake clean is the greatest thing I could ask to be doing for my time. It feels good. You're accomplishing something that is truly helping everybody in the community I was born and raised in. Water is our greatest resource. We all need it to survive. Veolia is 100% doing great work.